An entitled parasite, desperately trying to attach his tentacles onto a legendary character.
But Iron Man started with nothing.
And creating one of the most smug and morally backward characters.
Humiliating disasters Marvel Studios has ever released.
Yo, let's talk. So there's this Ironheart discourse that is going around now, not because the show is perfect, but there's a certain type of people, I mean the loudest voices that are reviewing this series are clearly missing the point. Hi, my name is Samuel Huolatero, and I'm speaking to you from Lagos, Nigeria, far away from the American YouTube bubble of these film Marvel experts, where every review sounds like it's a copy and paste job from the same script. Is everybody getting the same memo and everybody's just like, doing this, like the traditional media? No, I truly believe everybody's getting a lot of things wrong about this series. Number one, we need to realize that the American audience and this set of people reviewing these clips, they are not the total audience. There's a large amount of audience. I think like almost 70%, 60% of viewers watching American content are international. So there's different perspectives, and you need to understand that because we don't have these voices in the mix, can give us this false narrative. So I'm going to give you a few points where I think, these people are getting it all wrong. Number one, Ironheart was never meant to be an Avengers. It's not like the Endgame. It is not like your Loki season 1 series. It is not that type of series. It is supposed to be a filler film. It just happens to have like a very big IP, which is the Iron Man attached to it. So this is a Disney filler show that is like a mixtape between, your Marvel cinema movies and your regular story. It's supposed to fill you in on some of the details of what's happening with this character before they bring them to the cinematic screen. I think that's like what the producers are trying to do anyways. I might be wrong. Number two, tough pill. You, the reviewer, I'm talking to you, the reviewers now. You are not the main character of this story. Yeah, you are not.
You're damn right I'm right.
Riri Williams is. The black teenage girl growing up in a world post-Iron Man with the trauma, with the pressures and expectations. And yeah, maybe some misplaced confidence. But tell me this, when it being bold and delusional become a problem with a female character, really. I used to see all the reviews for what it is, and most of the times when you talk about all this race and you talk about Marvel just making all these terrible casting decisions, some of them are really, really based on some facts. But every single time when you see someone that is just different from what you originally intend or what you would prefer to see on the screen, we need to take a minute before you criticize. You need to take a pause. Look at the film for what it is. Look at the story for what the story filmmakers are trying to, communicate. So you don't come off as motherfucker. All this comparison with the Tony Stark character, they are not so different, Tony Stark is also a very stubborn, self-confident, over-egotistic. I've never seen anybody call that character uninspiring. So why is Riri so unrealistic to you? Maybe, just maybe, you don't understand the black experience. You don't understand what being black is. And that is fine. You need to get some perspective.
Can you say that again?
You need to get some perspective. Stop it. And there's this assumption that if you just build one Iron Man suit, you are made for life. If you could just do that. But we live in a world where people are making one great music, one great film, but they're not going anywhere. People just don't pick up on raw talent. We live in a world where you need to market yourself, you need to brand yourself, you need to fight for every single thing, and that's what she needs the money for. There's a scene in the beginning where Riri was boasting and they started the film with it. That was a very, very good scene. I don't understand what's good about that scene because...
Just to let you know, your girlfriend will be bigger than John's. Right? Bigger than you.
If you grow up lacking a few things, right? There's a certain type of motivation that you do and that we do. Not as black Americans, because I'm never a black American. I'm not going to assume that I understand the black American experience. I'm an African, right? To some extent, because, we live in a very global world right now. I kind of understand where that character is coming from because there's a level of motivation that you have to give yourself. If someone like me, with all my exposure and all, that decide and really want to live and work in Nigeria and not trying to leave the country, intentionally, you have to have some very, very realistic expectations to some extent, you know. Saying stuff like I'll be as Dangote, I'll be as badass, you know, as Elon Musk. Not necessarily being the goal, not necessarily being what you are trying to achieve, not trying to like reduce Dangote to, you know, him being a puppet or reducing Elon Musk to him being a nobody. That doesn't take anything from those people. It just means there's a certain way black people, you know, pump up themselves. You know, you can see she and her friend, they have this big dynamics, big chemistry, and I can't see anybody talking about that, and I just can't see the hate. Everything is just looking hate, because sometimes you have to step out of, you know, that criticism space and try and see something for what it is really. These are two amazing friends having very, very nice quality time and just talking trash. And we do that all the time, we talk trash all the time. I've seen people in Nigeria who say they are better than Ronaldo. Are they better than Ronaldo? Maybe, we never know. We never seen them play together on the pitch. But on the local pitch, on a big pitch, in estates, my guy, these guys are greater than Ronaldo. They are better than Messi. But they are away. But that's the truth. We pump ourselves up to say these things, you know, just to feel good, just to make sure we get ourselves going for your dreams the next day, waking up the next day. And that's what we do. So you seeing that and saying, oh, she's egotistic. No, that's not ego. That's just you not understanding from your own perspective. That's why I say, check your... Let me give you another perspective. Remember that time during slavery when, you know, some black farmers, you know, some black Americans, you know, were all slaves and they work on the farm. I'm very sure there is a black on that farm that talks trash every day. Motherfucker! That says stuff like, you know, one day I'm going to be greater than this white man that owns this house. I'm going to have my own house, and I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. And they say that to each other while they pick the cotton under the whip of their master. We do this all the time. So you just need to understand the culture. Don't bring your hate in the movie. Let's criticize things for what they are. We can talk about how bad the series is without being wrong. All those things that you get wrong just makes you look, just throws all your valid points out of the window. You know, I was actually watching one of the reviews, and one of the guys compared Tony Stark MIT journey to our own MIT journey, and I'm like, do you understand the privilege? Do you understand the level of privilege that they both have? From our perspective, the reason why she would never graduate, or she refused to graduate, she spent way more than the level of time in the school, is because she refused to graduate. She's trying to use the amenities of the school to improve her own personal ambition, her own personal dreams. She's not trying to work a 9 to 5, people. She's not like you. That's why I say take yourself out of the story. She has bigger dreams. When does having bigger dreams be the problem? That's not the problem. And I understand you can say, okay, why is she doing what? You know, doing all the legal stuff. Why is she writing exams for the plagiarism and all those stuff that she did in school? Yes, we can all criticize that without comparing her to Tony Stark, because their journey are very, very different. She's well privileged, yes. She got a scholarship, yes. But the scholarship is just a means to an end for her. You need to understand. And that's why it goes to my very first point, that Riri is the main character of the story. We are all just following her along this journey. And I understand for you, you might not be able to connect with her, and that's fine. You can take that as one of the points, but you can't say things that are just so contrast, because you can't compare Tony Stark's arc to her arc. Tony Stark leaves the school. He is not looking to get a job somewhere, but they're just going to tell her, okay, I know we are all smart and all, but all I need you to do every day is to build this reactor and give me 1,000 of these copies of this reactor and give me 2,000 copies of this reactor. Every day you get there, you keep doing the same thing. They employed you for a job. You are slaved to the mission of the company. Sure, you're going to enter as an entry level, whatever. Even if you are paying you, if you are one of the best entry level they are going to give you, are still going to give you a entry level kind of job. You have to work your way up. She doesn't want to do that. We live in a world where that is okay right now, where people should have the chance to choose what they want to do. And for her, she doesn't want to be stuck in this corporate, or that's why she stayed way longer than necessary in the school, because she doesn't really care about the certificates. She's trying to build her dream. She's trying to make a robot that could be what? Number one, be a great emergency service, that could be fire service, that could do, and they could do all those things very well. And that's what she's trying to work on because of her trauma. But when comparing that to Tony Stark, do you know how many people, how many weapons of mass destruction Tony Stark weapons have killed? Do you know how many blood money? Why is anybody not angry about that? Billions of lives that has been lost, millions of lives that have been lost because of Tony Stark's weapon. His father worked all throughout all the World War. You need to understand that. Shield and all those stuff. Because you need to know the mirror Marvel, to the real life world and incidents. So when Captain America was fighting all those wars, he was selling to both sides. We saw him grow up, and even the purpose he got after, he built that suit to save himself was to start destroying his own weapons, to stop it, to stop that arms sales. The major fight where he has with his partner was because of that, because he doesn't want to sell weapons to bad people. And you need to understand that this is a terrible guy. When you look at it in a real life experience, a terrible guy. But what do you expect from people who don't understand the plight between the Palestinians and the Israelis? So when you compare her to Tony Stark, that Tony Stark graduated with flying claws and all that stuff, and she doesn't want to, but she's a brat. No, that's a character that has depth. She's not a failure because she's on her own journey, not your journey. This is where it gets really embarrassing for you guys. You all are just watching each other, echoing each other, and now a show like Ironheart can't breathe because you have decided this show is trash before even getting all the final episodes. Caveat, I actually also think Ironheart is not a great series, but it's for different reasons. Like I said, 70 to 60% of the audience of this film is going to be international. We need to understand that 30%, 40% estimated numbers really, it varies from show to shows, but really watch from America. And we need to understand that you are not the only audience watching this series. You're not the only people watching these shows. So let's leave space for other people to see and feel and experience and kind of understand the journey. My personal take, really, it's not a great series. Let's be real. But it wasn't designed to be a great series. For what it is decent. Decent. But more importantly, it's not yours to tear apart from a place of privilege. So please check your... And maybe, just maybe, let's allow films and stories that are about people unlike you just exist. Let them rest without demanding they pander to your expectations. If you like this, please drop a comment. If you didn't, maybe sit with it. But if you're tired of the crazy criticisms and you want a genuine voice outside of this YouTube bubble, you need to follow me on this channel because I'm going to be doing some real stuff. The Naija way, Subscribe. It's been fun talking to you today. This is Frames and Scenes. And if you want to see me rant about one of my very favorite films called Real Steel, you can check it out here. Stay blessed.